So g'day, you've got your lifetime carbon balance now, you've got your number. What are you going to do with it? And of course what we want to encourage people to do with Pond Foundation is to encourage you to remove that carbon from the atmosphere, to take responsibility for it. So many other carbon zero approaches. Just talk about this year. So if my emissions for this year, let's say, are 1,000 tonnes, the whole idea is to get that down to zero through all sorts of strange means like offsetting and stuff like that. We don't think that's a good idea. What we work with our members to do is to remove that carbon from the atmosphere. So let's say you've been in business, let's say 5 years. Each year you put up 1,000 tonnes. So let's say you've got 5,000 tonnes of lifetime carbon balance. So we talk about RRRI actions, 3 R's and an I. And the first R is we want you to reduce your emissions. So once we've worked out your emissions, let's say for 2022, that will highlight for you where your emissions are mostly coming. For a lot of companies, it's business travel, flights, for example. If you're a manufacturing company, it could be in your raw materials, it could be in your energy use. But our report for your lifetime carbon balance will identify all of those emissions for you. And then we can say, okay, what's your strategy, your R1 for reduce your emissions? What's your strategy for reducing those emissions? It could be to travel less, use more Zoom calls or things like that. It could be to move your production process over to renewable energy. There's whole strategies that we can do, and we work those out with you. Secondly is R2. This is helping others reduce their emissions. That doesn't count to your LCB, it counts to theirs. But for example, your staff, your colleagues, your associates, you might help them work out their lifetime carbon balance and help them to start reducing their emissions too, or removing their carbon from the atmosphere. And then there's R3. R3 is to remove your emissions. So you've got your lifetime carbon balance. Let's say it is that 5,000 tonnes. It could be more, it could be less, depending on how long you're in business, how many emissions you produce each year. How are you going to remove that from the atmosphere? So we have a series of projects that remove carbon from the atmosphere. They could be tree planting projects, soil carbon projects, biochar projects, built environment projects, where through your investment, you support the project implementers to do more of their work, and that removes carbon from the atmosphere. So progressively over time, and you don't have to do it straight away. Honestly, we've got members who are removing their lifetime carbon balance up to 2040. Some might even go up to 2050. It takes time to do that. And what we don't want you to do is to invest all your money in that and put yourself out of business. But progressively, we want you to remove that carbon balance from the atmosphere. And you can do it step by step when you can afford it. But you'll set yourself apart from other companies who are not doing that. And you'll be able to differentiate yourself in the market, because people are looking beyond these traditional notions of carbon neutrality and carbon zero. They're looking now for people to go lifetime carbon zero, and that's what we offer at Pond Foundation. The last action, I for inspire. See if you can inspire other people to go down this journey too. What can your colleagues do, your family do, business partners do, people in your supply chain if you're a manufacturing company? I for inspire. Bring a community of people coming together to remove their carbon from the atmosphere. So that's what you do when you've got your lifetime carbon balance. Have a bit of a plan, have a bit of a think, step by step, start removing it from the atmosphere.